You know, I don't think so. I've got some things I've been wanting to do for a while, and we've been building cars. We've been really busy. There's definitely a different direction I want to go, and here I just can't. I can't do both. And
he was the quiet genius behind some of the most jaw-dropping builds on Fast and Loud, a bearded icon whose calm intensity balanced the chaos of Gas Monkey Garage. But somewhere between the roaring engines and reality TV fame, something unexpected happened. Something no one saw coming. Fans thought they knew him. They thought they knew the show. But what led Aaron Kaufman to make a decision that would change everything? It wasn't a dramatic exit, at least not at first. What unfolded behind the scenes reveals a side of the garage, and of Aaron himself, that's rarely seen. And it all started with one moment that would quietly shake the foundation of the show. Let's rewind the story and find out. The curious Aaron Kaufman. Aaron Kaufman displayed a unique curiosity about how things worked. Instead of playing with typical toys, Aaron often took them apart just to understand their mechanics. This hands-on fascination evolved quickly, leading him to work on bicycles, lawnmowers, and eventually cars before he was even old enough to drive. His upbringing in a working-class Texas environment instilled in him a strong work ethic and a no-nonsense attitude toward craftsmanship, traits that would later define his career in the automotive world. As a self-taught mechanic, Kaufman never received formal engineering or automotive education. Instead, he honed his skills through experience and a deep commitment to learning by doing. By his late teens, he was already known locally for his mechanical abilities and problem-solving skills. These talents caught the eye of Richard Rawlings, who later hired Kaufman to work on a car project. Impressed by Aaron's ability to strip down and rebuild a car with precision and creativity, Rawlings brought him on board to help build what would become the Gas Monkey Garage brand. Kaufman's approach to mechanics never really stopped with fixing things. His approach always involved pushing the envelope. Unlike the multitude of mechanics who perform mundane repairs or simply rush through jobs, Aaron aspired to make elaborate, high-performance machinery that demanded technical ingenuity. Early on, he developed an affection for cars, and that easily converted into a burning passion to dominate in custom fabrication, tuning, and design. This passion set him apart from a field filled with talent, gradually paving the way to his starring role on the Discovery Channel hit show Fast and Loud. Being a Texan and city-grown provided him such an earthbound identity, even as his celebrity took off. Apart from technical brilliance, fans liked him because he was just a plain guy who truly enjoyed what he did. These factors helped viewers bond to him immensely and thrust Fast and Loud to overwhelming success. Well before the cameras began rolling, Kaufman was an established force in the garage. The cameras merely helped the world catch up to what Texas already knew. But little did Aaron know, one chance encounter in a Dallas garage would launch him into a world far bigger than he imagined. Rise to fame with Gas Monkey Garage. Aaron Kaufman's rise to fame began when he crossed paths with entrepreneur and car enthusiast Richard Rawlings. At the time, Kaufman was working at a local garage in Dallas, Texas, showcasing remarkable skill and attention to detail in his automotive work. Rawlings noticed Aaron's talent during a routine repair and was immediately impressed by his speed and precision. This meeting marked the beginning of a professional relationship that would later evolve into a business partnership. Recognizing Kaufman's potential, Rawlings invited him to join a new venture that would soon become the legendary Gas Monkey Garage. Gas Monkey Garage was established with the vision of creating custom hot rods and restored classic cars that combined craftsmanship with entertainment value. Kaufman quickly emerged as the shop's lead mechanic, and his deep mechanical knowledge, coupled with a perfectionist mindset, made him the backbone of the operation. While Rawlings brought the business and branding flair, Kaufman provided the technical expertise that gave their builds substance and credibility. Their personalities complemented each other, Rawlings being the high-energy showman, and Kaufman the quiet, intense craftsman, which created a natural on-screen chemistry that became a major draw for audiences. This dynamic partnership catalyzed the Discovery Channel to release a reality TV show, Fast and Loud, in 2012. The show chronicled the daily activities involved in purchasing, restoring, and selling classic cars by Gas Monkey Garage. Kaufman, as the bearded wonder, rose quickly to become a fan favorite. Viewers respected his straightforward approach to car production and tackling tough projects with creative solutions. His trademark beard, calm attitude, and intense focus to the point of being quirky made him the real deal and gave some heart to the show. Under Kaufman and Rawlings, Fast and Loud stands as one of the most successful automotive reality shows ever put on television. The duo really made Gas Monkey Garage into an international brand, known by millions around the world. Aaron brought technical proficiency and credibility to the show, and the audience responded strongly to his genuine love for mechanics. Along with fame came an expansion of the show, and Kaufman remained grounded with his love of the cars, building not for show, but with real craftsmanship in every bolt and weld. His rise through Gas Monkey Garage was not a show of fame. It was a testament to what skill, passion, and the right partnership can achieve. The importance of chemistry. One of the key factors behind Fast and Loud's massive success was the undeniable chemistry between Aaron Kaufman and Richard Rawlings. From the very beginning, their partnership was built on mutual respect and complementary strengths. While Rawlings was the face of the business, charismatic, loud, and focused on flipping cars for profit, Kaufman was the mechanical genius in the background, ensuring the vehicles were built to perfection. Their contrasting personalities worked in harmony, creating a balance that made the show entertaining while maintaining credibility among car enthusiasts. Fans were drawn to the authenticity of their relationship. Despite working in a high-pressure environment where deadlines were tight and the stakes were high, Kaufman and Rawlings rarely had public disagreements or dramatic conflicts, which is uncommon in reality TV. In fact, both often spoke highly of each other in interviews, which only strengthened the public perception that they worked well together behind the scenes. This sense of camaraderie made viewers feel like they were watching a real friendship unfold in the shop, rather than a scripted performance. The on-screen chemistry was essential in Fast and Loud. It wasn't about cars, it was about the people building them. Kaufman, with his poised, calm mannerisms, would temper Rawlings' fiery energy, and this contrast in temperaments made viewers keep coming back. This blend of friendship and rivalry, shared victories, and occasional frustrations humanized the process of each build, causing even the occasional viewer to begin caring about the fate of these projects. Viewers felt a personal sense of pride about the two, so much so that Kaufman's abrupt exit felt like losing a member of their own family. Kaufman's announcement of his departure came as a shock to the fan base. To them, it was simply incomprehensible that someone so interwoven into both the business and the entertainment aspects of Fast and Loud would walk away, as the show was just hitting its peak in popularity. The way he seemed to fit in perfectly with Rawlings and the rest of the team raised bigger red flags in terms of what could have possibly been going on behind the scenes. The charisma shared by the pair led most to believe that all was working out very well. So Kaufman's exit was not only a surprise, but came as a dreadful shock to those longtime fans who saw the duo as inseparable. Shocking departures before Kaufman. Before Aaron Kaufman's exit stunned fans of Fast and Loud, two other key figures from the Gas Monkey Garage had already made headlines with their abrupt departures: Tom Smith and Jordan Butler. Known for their humor, skill, and chemistry with the rest of the team, Tom and Jordan were well-liked by viewers and contributed significantly to the early appeal of the show. So, when news broke that they were no longer part of the cast, fans were confused and concerned. Unlike Kaufman, who later explained his reasons for leaving, Tom and Jordan's exit came without initial explanation, which only fueled speculation across online forums and automotive communities. At first, many fans refused to believe they were truly gone. It seemed too sudden, too out of character for the show to let go of such entertaining and skilled mechanics. Rumors began to swirl about possible behind-the-scenes conflicts, with some speculating that they had left to start their own show, while others suspected personal disagreements with Richard Rawlings. The silence from both the show and the network led to more questions than answers, and it wasn't until much later that the real story came to light. An incident involving Rawlings' beloved Rolls-Royce had triggered their firing. The whole truth opened up when Tom Smith sat down for an interview with TMZ and gave details about the event. He disclosed that a visitor suffering from fibrosis had come into the garage, and by the end of the tour, he asked to have a photo taken beside Rawlings' cherished Rolls-Royce. Wanting to oblige this fan, Tom said yes, thinking it was just a harmless thing to do. When Rawlings later saw the photo, he went ballistic at the whole idea of what he considered an invasion of privacy for his luxury vehicle. His reaction was so outrageous, he started yelling and cursing, that it left Tom aghast. Tom then gave him a run for his defense money, and when Jordan backed Tom up, the argument went on to become even worse. At the end of the day, Rawlings dismissed both of them. This incident shed light on how volatile the Gas Monkey Garage workplace could become, especially where Rawlings' authority was concerned. The firing was made all the more wrenching by the fact that something as simple as allowing a fan to get his picture taken turned into an excuse to remove two highly skilled team members. The aftershocks of their dismissal not only gave birth to the spin-off Misfit Garage, formed around other ex-Gas Monkey members, but also laid the foundation for questioning what stability looked like behind the curtains. For a host of viewers, it was at the departure of Tom and Jordan that the unmistakable mark of a blistering onset of discontent at Gas Monkey was felt. A forewarning against which Aaron Kaufman's later leaving would seem less of a lone occurrence and more of a continuation. Why Tom and Jordan got fired. The firing of Tom Smith and Jordan Butler from Fast and Loud was one of the earliest behind-the-scenes controversies to come out of Gas Monkey Garage, and it all revolved around a seemingly innocent photo. According to Tom Smith's later interview with TMZ, the situation began when a visitor to the garage, who suffered from fibrosis, a serious lung condition, asked if he could take a photo next to Richard Rawlings' cherished Rolls-Royce. Wanting to provide a memorable experience for the guest, Tom agreed without hesitation, assuming it would be no big deal. After all, the garage frequently welcomed fans, and making them feel welcome was part of the culture. Or so Tom thought. However, Richard Rawlings saw the situation very differently. When he discovered that someone had taken a photo next to his Rolls-Royce, he reacted with unexpected fury. The car, one of his prized possessions, held special significance for Rawlings, and he apparently believed it should have been treated with more exclusivity and care. His anger was immediate and intense. He began yelling and swearing at Tom in front of others. Rather than staying silent, Tom pushed back, defending his decision and his intention to do something nice for a fan. Jordan Butler, who had not been directly involved, stepped in to support Tom, which only added fuel to the fire. Although it was just a regular workplace disagreement, the argument soon became heated. Acting suddenly and dramatically, Rawlings dismissed Tom and Jordan. It is most unusual for such a sudden dismissal to take place, particularly when set against the backdrop of the particular incident itself. There was a hush over the reasons for their exit at the time, and so this gave rise to rumors regarding their voluntary departure or plans for something new. The whole fan base then erupted in outrage and disappointment when Tom confirmed the firing and related the circumstances of the incident, many feeling the punishment did not fit the crime. Despite a setback, still, not for long were Tom and Jordan laid low. Co-founding Misfit Garage, a spin-off series under the Discovery umbrella centered around a group of mechanics viewed as misfits in the industry, an opportunity was created for them to get back on their feet. Although viewed by some as a plan B due to the controversial exit, it gave them a stage to demonstrate their skills and show that they truly were worth more than just Gas Monkey Garage. Ironically, it was later reported that Rawlings himself may have even invested in their new venture, possibly as a shrewd business move to cash in on their continuing popularity. A bickering match about a picture turned into a career-altering episode with yet another intriguing story to go with the already complex relationships in Fast and Loud. As the dust settled around their firing, another key player began facing a very different kind of battle. Aaron Kaufman's growing frustration. While Fast and Loud enjoyed massive success, Aaron Kaufman was quietly growing disillusioned with the direction the show was taking. Behind the scenes, the fast-paced format of the series, designed to keep viewers constantly entertained, began to clash with Aaron's ideals as a mechanic and builder. The show's focus was increasingly centered on quick car builds that prioritized speed and visual appeal over craftsmanship and technical complexity. For someone like Kaufman, who had a deep respect for the mechanical art form, this felt limiting and unfulfilling. Over time, it became clear that the production schedule left little room for the kinds of intricate, innovative projects he was passionate about. Kaufman's frustrations weren't just creative, they were also deeply personal. As the lead mechanic, he was constantly pushed to complete builds under tight deadlines that often compromised the quality of work he wanted to deliver. His reputation was built on precision and ingenuity, and the repetitive nature of these fast and flashy projects didn't allow him to fully explore his skills. While these builds were good for TV ratings, they weren't satisfying for someone who valued meaningful craftsmanship. He wanted to go beyond simple restorations and create custom, high-performance vehicles that required a higher level of problem-solving and design. Through time, Kaufman felt increasingly out of sync with the show's format and goals. He had raised these concerns with his co-workers in hopes that the working projects at the garage could be more aligned with his artistic ambitions. The more he realized, however, the Discovery Channel and Gas Monkey Garage stood firm in the previous model, prioritizing entertainment value rather than depth. The confrontation between Aaron's desire was growing intense, with a demand from the show that he felt he was in the midst of abandoning his identity as a builder, weighing greatly on him both personally and professionally. At the end of the day, Kaufman saw that staying would only be a continued, gradual compromise of his vision and passion. He never wanted to be put in a position where people called him a fame seeker over someone following his heart after putting so much work into being a respected builder with integrity. The decision to step away from Fast and Loud was painful in its considerations, but unavoidable as the gap increased between what he wanted and the realities of what he was doing for a living in the name of being on the show. Thus began a seismic shift in his life, caused by his blazing dissatisfaction, one where he could follow the kinds of demanding and detail-oriented projects that originally inspired his love of cars. The decision to leave. Aaron Kaufman's decision to leave Fast and Loud wasn't made overnight. It was the result of a long and gradual buildup of professional frustrations and personal tensions that made his continued involvement with the show increasingly difficult. While Kaufman had once thrived in the high-energy environment of Gas Monkey Garage, the creative limitations imposed by the network and show format began to wear on him. The fast turnaround projects may have satisfied audience demand for entertainment, but they left Kaufman feeling creatively stifled. He wanted to work on larger, more ambitious builds that showcased innovation and craftsmanship, something the show's rigid schedule didn't allow. Professionally, he found himself clashing with the show's direction. Kaufman had ideas for more technically complex and rewarding projects, but those ideas were often sidelined in favor of quick wins that made better television. He began to feel disconnected from the very work that had once brought him joy. This growing dissatisfaction made him question whether Fast and Loud was still a place where he could grow, evolve, or challenge himself as a builder. The sense of creative stagnation was compounded by his rising public profile, which brought more pressure and attention, but less fulfillment. Adding to the pressure were certain personal issues between Kaufman and Rawlings. Their professional relationship used to be the perfect foundation for their early days, but over time deteriorated. Kaufman pointedly referenced in interviews after his leaving that there were major disagreements far beyond creative differences. Though he never fully disclosed the details, he basically stated that tensions behind the scenes reached a breaking point. Mutual respect, which once defined their partnership, gradually disappeared. With this change, it became impossible for Kaufman to remain in an environment that no longer reflected his own values or vision. In the end, the decision to leave was largely personal, determined by Aaron's search for authenticity and growth. He was dead set against running away from it all, not caring for abandoning his team in the process, so he thoughtfully orchestrated his exit. He stayed long enough to fulfill all his obligations, making certain that his going wouldn't throw a wrench in the momentum of the garage. Kaufman's fans were deeply saddened by his leaving, recognizing it as his only way to maintain his principles and integrity. His departure also ended an era, one not only for Fast and Loud, but also for one of the most trusted and reputable figures out there in the reality TV custom car culture. Life after Fast and Loud. After departing Fast and Loud, Aaron Kaufman embarked on a journey that would reflect his true vision for automotive craftsmanship. Unlike the TV spotlight where deadlines drove creativity into overdrive, Kaufman's post-show path allowed him to slow down and realign his career with his personal values. Determined not to waste time, he began developing the foundation for his next venture, while still wrapping up at Gas Monkey Garage. He envisioned a space that emphasized quality over speed and innovation over entertainment, a place where car building could be more artistic than commercial. This vision came to life in ArcLight Fabrication, a garage Aaron opened in Dallas, Texas, not long after leaving the show. Instead of trying to please the masses, ArcLight was created to serve a very specific passion of Kaufman's: restoring and modifying vintage Ford trucks. His decision to focus on 1957 to 1979 Ford F-Series models was a personal one, driven by a long-time appreciation for their design and history. Unlike the constant churn of Fast and Loud, where projects were dictated by episode schedules, ArcLight gave him room to take his time and treat every build as a labor of love. Kaufman's approach to ArcLight was rather hands-on. He was not just a figurehead or boss. He got involved in virtually every aspect of the building process, from procuring parts to customizing the actual fabrication. Having no pressure to work for television content, he got to concentrate on the kind of craftsmanship and mechanical artistry that had always entranced him. He designed the shop to be flexible, with the ability to build in advanced equipment or expand into new space later. This gave him the freedom to engage in the type of detailed and ambitious work that he had never before been able to entertain. The automotive community quickly began to pick up on what Kaufman was doing. Without the marketing power of a network behind it, ArcLight became more popular via word of mouth and Aaron's reputation. The fans appreciated the genuineness and notion of a return to form. Kaufman was finally building the way he had really wanted to all along. While rumors surfaced about investment in ArcLight from former colleagues such as Richard Rawlings, Kaufman stayed focused on the craft and not the drama. His journey after Fast and Loud was not about distancing himself from the past. Rather, it was about finally finding a way to make his career align with his greatest passion. Leadership, vision, and the challenges. Starting ArcLight fabrication was a leap into the unknown, but Aaron Kaufman approached it with the same intensity and precision that made him a standout on Fast and Loud. From the beginning, he knew success would depend not only on skill, but on leadership, on assembling a team that believed in building cars the right way, not the fast way. With the spotlight behind him, Kaufman shifted his focus to creating a workplace culture rooted in trust, high standards, and collaboration. He personally recruited a crew that didn't just follow instructions, but contributed their own expertise to each build. Early in the shop's development, Kaufman faced a critical decision: how to fund a high-quality operation while maintaining full control. Drawing on his professional reputation, he secured key financial backing from investors who saw the value in his focused business model. While rumors suggested that Richard Rawlings may have invested, Aaron never publicly confirmed or denied it, choosing instead to keep attention on the work itself. What mattered most was having the capital to equip ArcLight with top-tier tools, materials, and space resources that would enable the team to deliver premium results without compromise. Aaron's span of leadership extended beyond just finances to include branding. He knew that ArcLight had to be more than just capable of gates in a crowded industry, so it could have a strong identity. Giving the shop a narrower focus on vintage Ford trucks, he created a space that was both defined and underserved. This approach allowed him and the team to become specialists in crafting custom parts and builds and providing services to a small community of collectors and enthusiasts. In Kaufman's vision, ArcLight hence transformed from just another custom garage into the ultimate vintage Ford truck parlor. Yet the journey had its bumps. From scratch, the mountain building meant overcoming the hurdles of logistics, consumer demands, and maintaining a constant high level of performance without the comforting budget of TV production behind you. Kaufman faced all that head-on, combining his creative side with his business acumen, where he eventually learned to delegate, to streamline processes, and to keep spirits up despite the pressures. Resilience grew after each roadblock. Over time, ArcLight stood for Kaufman's faith in the quality of professional fabrication, the power of vision, and integrity to prosper beyond the camera presence. What he built after Fast and Loud would turn out to be more than a business. It would become a legacy. Legacy and impact. Aaron Kaufman's journey from a self-taught mechanic in Crowley, Texas, to a nationally recognized figure in the automotive world is a story of grit, passion, and unwavering dedication to his craft. With no formal training, he built his career from the ground up, relying solely on hands-on experience, natural talent, and a relentless drive to improve. His rise to fame on Fast and Loud introduced millions of viewers to the world of custom car building. But more importantly, it showcased what someone could achieve when they truly loved what they did. Kaufman didn't just entertain, he inspired a generation of gearheads, builders, and dreamers. While many reality TV stars fade once the cameras stop rolling, Kaufman took a different path. Instead of chasing continued fame, he chose to pursue creative and professional freedom, founding ArcLight Fabrication to stay true to his vision. His departure from Fast and Loud marked a pivotal moment, not just for the show, but for his fans, who saw it as a bold stand for authenticity over celebrity. By focusing on vintage Ford trucks and quality craftsmanship, Kaufman carved out a respected niche that allowed him to contribute meaningfully to car culture without sacrificing his values. Kaufman's impact goes far beyond just the builds. On Fast and Loud, he helped to redefine what it meant to be a TV mechanic. Not just someone who fixes things, but someone who innovates, explains, and takes pride in the art of automotive work. Viewers connected well with Kaufman's down-to-earth character and appreciated that his fame did not result from drama or glitz, but was in fact based on true ability and character. His presence raised the levels of expectations for car reality shows, putting the spotlight back on the craftsmanship and not the entertainment. Today, Aaron Kaufman is more than just another former reality star. He has become a symbol of what integrity is in an industry that often gives speed precedence over substance. The entire fame of the man is built on the premise that pursuing your passion, even meaning walking away from success, can open the doors to something much more fulfilling. Kaufman continues to affect automotive culture and inspire others to build with intent, take creative risks, and hold tightly to their values, regardless of how loud the sounds are around them through ArcLight Fabrication and the example he set both on and off camera. Aaron Kaufman's mark on the industry runs further than mere car builds. He is the representation of a broader culture shift inclined more toward craftsmanship, intent, and authenticity rather than fast, flashy builds or viral moments. There has been a change in appreciation in recent years for builders who emphasize storytelling in their projects, and Kaufman very much remains a symbolic figure in that movement. According to an interview with Road and Track, Kaufman reportedly stated, "I want to build cars that have more soul, more thought, more engineering." Such philosophy set him apart from the other TV mechanics, touching the hearts of the enthusiasts who felt that mass media had, in turn, drained much of the soul from the custom car world. Thus, Kaufman's legacy lies both in what he built and in how he helped recalibrate the value system of the industry. Passion-driven work can indeed be respected and commercially viable. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed diving into Aaron Kaufman's story, go ahead and hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Got a theory or memory about Fast and Loud? We'd love to hear it below. And don't go just yet. Check out the next video on your screen for more untold stories from the world of custom cars and reality TV legends.